Hey world, and welcome to another Marvel video! Yay! This is actually the last video I'm filming, so I am quite glad to have gotten to the end of this little saga. It's not the last video that will be up, so there will be more for you. Look forward to that. And if you're actually watching these videos, thank you. I've had a lot of fun making them, but it's also been a lot of work, more than I thought, so thank you if you are watching these videos. But yeah, today we are talking about Stan Lee cameo scenes. The big man himself, Stan Lee, the hero to all the heroes. And I thought about going through all cameo scenes, but I'm gonna be completely honest. First of all, that would be a very long video. Second of all, there are some that are just like, okay, he's there. Like, the thrill of Stan Lee cameo scenes is just seeing the Stan Lee cameo scene. Some of the scenes themselves aren't really that exciting or cool or fun or good. So what I did decide to do is to rank the top 10 cameo scenes. The ones that I personally enjoy as a scene, as a part of the film, as a snippet of actual content. These are the 10 best Stan Lee cameo scenes, in my opinion. And of course we're also gonna start from the bottom again, obviously. So yeah, at number 10 is the cameo scene from Doctor Strange, the one where they hit the bus window and in the bus is sitting Stan Lee laughing at a book. I actually checked, the book is The Doors of Perception, so fitting with the theme, and he's just laughing to himself saying, "Oh, that's hilarious," and they're hitting the window and he doesn't really realize. It's just cute, it's funny, you know, and then the fight continues. Number 9 is the one in the first Spider-Man, where Spider-Man thinks he's stopping a car thief, but it's not a car thief, it's their car. And then all the people from the buildings around open their windows and are shouting at him and like, "What are you doing? What's this?" And I can't quite make out everything they're saying, but I think Stan Lee's name is Barry in that scene, and he's like flirting with the woman from the window across. And it's just a really cute scene, and also Spider-Man is like really confused and like, "I wanted to do something good, but I didn't." So yeah, it's a funny scene, and I like all the interactions of like the little community they have going. It's like, you know, Spider-Man is the neighborhood hero and this is the neighborhood, and they're like a community. I just really like it. I think it's cute. At number 10 we have Stan Lee as an old man in a truck trying to lift Thor's hammer in Thor 1. And I actually, the first time I saw that scene I didn't quite realize it was Stan Lee, because he has like his collar up and his baseball cap in his face, and I think also sunglasses on, and there's only like a small scene from like behind through the car window, so I didn't quite realize it was him in the first time I saw it, but now I know. And I think like the entire scene of all those mortals trying to lift the hammer is just really funny in general, and then they're trying to hook the hammer to Stan Lee's car and he tries to like drive it out, and he's like really excited, he thinks it worked, but obviously it didn't, so again, just a fun scene. And actually the next one is also from Thor, the second one, where Eric is in the psych ward and he's explaining the 9 realms, and I don't quite know why, but for some reason he needed a shoe to do it. He could have taken anything, but for some reason he took the shoe of someone else in the psych ward, and that someone else is Stan Lee, obviously. So Eric is like talking himself up and like getting really into it and explaining the 9 realms, and some of them are actually listening, so maybe some of these people now know about all of this. But at the end of his little rant, Stan Lee says, "Can I have my shoe back now?" Number 6 is from the first Ant-Man, and actually I don't think Stan Lee's cameo is that funny in that one. He's just a bartender winking at Anna Kana. but it's at the end of the film and Louis is narrating it, and everything that Louis is narrating is just cool. So he's narrating the storyline of how he came to know that Sam is looking for Ant-Man, and Stan Lee is one of the people in that little storyline, and yeah, I really, really love everything that Louis narrates. It's just so fun, it's so good, he's such a good character. Next we have Captain America 2, and this is at the Captain America Museum. Is it an entire Captain America museum? I don't think we ever like really know that. Is it just a World War II museum and that's part of it? I'm going on a rant. What I'm trying to say is the scene is that the team stole the uniform for Cap from one of the dolls, so his original uniform from the exhibition, and Stan Lee is the security guard and he walks in and he sees this naked doll and he sees someone stole the uniform and he goes, "Ah shit, I'm so fired." I don't think he actually swears, maybe I just made that up. But in my mind he says, "Oh shit." Number 4 is actually one of my like favorites to see. I think the scene is so genius, and it's in the second Avengers when they have the little party at the tower and Thor has this little drink and he says it's not for mortals, but he gives some to Cap. And that's even funnier than Stan Lee saying, "Yeah, don't be so rude," or whatever. "Give me some of that drink," and he takes some of it and obviously he can't handle it, so he has to be carried home and he's like super drunk. So that's the entire scene, but I just think that little bit of Thor saying it's not for mortals while simultaneously giving some to Cap, like that's foreshadowing if I've ever seen any, so really nice scene. Then number 3 is in Infinity War, when the spaceship comes in and all the kids on Peter Parker's bus see it and freak out, and Stan Lee is the bus driver saying, "What's up with you? Never seen a spaceship?" Because obviously we've now have had a lot of spaceships, we've had aliens, we've had invasions, we've had all the weird stuff, and this man has apparently been there for all of it. Which brings us to the number 2, which is in the first Avengers when they're doing the interviews with all the citizens of New York, like after everything happened, and Stan Lee is sitting there playing chess with some other old guy and he's like, "Aliens in New York? Give me a break." Not believing any of it. Those two together are just a lot of fun because he's starting out as this guy who's like, "No, that could never happen, that's all bullshit." And then he becomes the one who's like, "What? As if this is any news, of course there's alien spaceships in New York." I like the combination of those two, so that's 3 and 2 in my list. And before we get to number 1 of the best Stan Lee cameo scenes, I want to give some honorable mentions. Yes, I'm doing that. First of all, to the Captain Marvel beginning title sequence of the Marvel logo. I don't like the cameo scene in Captain Marvel that much, it feels really forced, but the Marvel title sequence in Captain Marvel is actually a compilation of all Stan Lee appearances to the soundtrack, to the big theme song with the Marvel logo, and I think it made the entire theatre cry before the film even really started, because it was right after he died. And yeah, it's just, to this day, anytime I see that title sequence, I tear up. It's so beautiful and so sad, and just, this man really had an impact. And yeah, it's just really, really beautiful that they did that. Then I wanted to mention the one in the Into the Spider-Verse animated film, which obviously is like one of the best things ever to happen. It's such a great movie. It doesn't really belong in the MCU yet. But it does have an animated Stan Lee cameo, and this was also after he died, and Miles asks if he can return the costume, the Spider-Man costume, if it doesn't fit, and I just think it's so well done. Stan Lee as the cashier says it always fits, and then you get the focus on the sign behind him, "No returns," and I think that's so well done. It's like this combination of funny because it's like just their return policy, but also inspirational because it's like everyone can wear the mask, everyone can be Spider-Man, it always fits. And yeah, I'm getting teary just thinking about it. And then the last one I wanted to mention is actually a really sad one. Because it isn't a cameo scene. Black Widow was the first Marvel movie without, the first MCU movie without a Stan Lee cameo scene. And I hadn't thought about that before going to see the movie, but then at the end of the movie I realized there was no Stan Lee cameo because he was dead. And I'm about to cry, so let's stop thinking about that. I just wanted to mention that the lack thereof also really got to me. Damn it. Let's get to number one, the best Stan Lee cameo scene in my humble opinion. And it's actually kind of two, because it's Guardian of the Galaxy 2. It's the Stan Lee cameo scene that is split into the actual cameo scene in the movie and then also continued in the post-credit scene. So yeah, it's kind of split into two. And the reason I think this is the best one is not necessarily because of the scene itself. This is the one where Rocket and the team jump through the different portals, through the different planets, and one of the planets they pass by is where Stan Lee sits there in an astronaut's suit and he's talking to some sort of space race and he's like telling them about his adventures and giving them information. And one of the things he says is, that time I was a FedEx delivery person, which ties back to the credit scene in Civil War, where he's a FedEx person giving Tony Stark his package, Tony Stank. So yeah, the reason I love that scene is because it just gives credit to the fan theory that Stan Lee cameos are all actually the same person and that he's like always the same guy, just like playing pretend, playing like spy and informing this alien space race about all the Avengers and what's going on Earth, and he's like the informant. And I think that theory is really cool, and I also think it's really, really cool that Marvel gave like a little nod to the fan base. And really, like in that moment, sitting in the cinema, seeing that scene, it felt like the creative team was like winking at me through the screen and like, hey, I got you, here's the theory, now you can freak out about it, which I did. And yeah, then the continuation in the credit scenes to be like extra, you know, this is happening. I just thought it was really cool, it felt really special in the moment. And yeah, it somewhat kind of made the theory canon. All Stan Lee cameo scenes are actually connected, it's always the same person, he's an informant for the alien space race, telling them what we're doing on Earth. There you go. That's that's all my favorite Stan Lee cameo scenes. Obviously, I always love it when he shows up. It's just such a nice little Easter egg, such a little tradition in the MCU. And I'm really, really gonna miss it, so I wanted to make a video just kind of, you know, giving credit to the main man of the MCU. I'm really gonna miss those scenes. And yeah, let me know what you think. What are your favorite Stan Lee credit scenes? Which are the ones that like make you smile the instant you see him? And yeah, let me know all of that down in the comments down below. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you liked it. I hope you always have a reason to smile. And I shall see you soon. Bye!